Titanosaurus is on the rampage here. Why wasn't it called Godzilla versus Titanosaurus? Oh, let me introduce Dave the Godzilla Man. You're sort of a Godzilla-ologist, huh?
Yes, actually. Yeah, that's the only degree.
So it was a choice between being a gynecologist or a Godzilla-ologist, right?
That's what happens when you meet your wife in college. You have to change your
really?
major. Yeah.
I just thought you had high hopes and wanted a bigger spread, but that's another conversation completely. Well, Godzilla's a big subject.
He is.
Quite an article to be dealt with. But now, why wasn't it called Godzilla versus Titanosaurus?
I don't know. Maybe, that was actually the first movie, I believe, directed by a woman for Godzilla as well, wasn't it? Or written by a woman.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's an interesting story with the girl and the father. I mean, the side story of, some of these now I've been watching again and I'm starting to actually watch the Japanese dialogue, which when I was a kid, wish wasn't even in there. But I suppose it's just a bizarre thing, the sub stories that they have to go on. And this one used to kind of make me a little sad because at a time we thought this was Godzilla's farewell for good. This was the last movie of like the original series, which didn't have a lot to tie it together.
So you knew when it came out this was the last of the series?
Well, actually, when it came out, I didn't know it, but it was so many years passed. It seemed like that was the last for a while. But then, of course, they restarted it with Godzilla '85. But when Godzilla '85 was out and all, didn't really think that it was going to turn into what it did with all those other movies being made. So
yeah, but that actually brings up a good point because you were bringing up that, and I share this opinion too, that the Heisei series was actually the superior series in terms of.
That was the best incarnation of Godzilla. Definitely. Yeah. I mean, the one they have for Godzilla 2000's cool, whatever, but definitely that, especially I think it peaked with Destroyer. Yeah. When he was orange and melting down, that was when he was his most sympathetic and menacing. And on top,
I like the way he looked in Godzilla versus King Ghidorah. To me, that was the coolest.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's a real good one too. We're
dorking out Santa over here.
But now, we really had some incredible changes early on in Godzilla suits.
Now, who's your favorite Godzilla, Santa?
Sometimes you see several Godzilla suits in the same movie.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah. And like the King Kong versus Godzilla suit, all of a sudden then they do the Mothra movie and it's a completely different costume.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of inconsistency.
Yeah.
As far as that goes.
And sometimes in the same movie, usually in a water scene, seems like they're using that one they had from Godzilla versus the Sea Monster. Mm-hmm. And this one, the Godzilla suit wasn't doing too well by this movie.
Well, and there's a few of those movies too, like Son of Godzilla, where you're like, thank God they didn't use it again.
Oh, you didn't like that one, huh?
Yeah, no, not that suit.
Well, yeah, I always wondered now, maybe that wasn't supposed to be a male Godzilla? Maybe it's not even. And how does that fit into any kind of context with a lot of, he had King Ghidorah, and next thing you know, Godzilla's on an island fighting, it's just bizarre. It always was weird. Seemed like they're trying to get a little more serious at the end here with this one. I know Godzilla versus Megalon, I think, had to be the low point in Godzilla's career, being upstaged by a phony Ultraman on top of it
that was
in his own movie.
Yeah, and a cockroach.
Who wasn't menacing at all.
No.
And then they brought back Gigan,
right?
But what are you going to do? We love these movies either way, I guess. Godzilla versus the Smog Monster is still one of my favorites.
Other than the flying scene, I think that's one of the best.
Yeah, the flying scene could be,
Could do that.
But when I saw it, I got a kick out of it. I was young enough to enjoy that.
Yeah,
and that was the target audience. So.
Yeah, and the theme song.
Save the Earth.
Yeah.
And, hey, that got adopted by an actual, environmental group now.
Did it? Oh, no kidding.
They use that slogan.
Oh, really?
I'm like,
about time.
Do they realize that, they already had that going on?
Yeah, I didn't know that.
And we still got the same issue pressing. Mm-hmm. Amazing stuff. What you can find in the Godzilla movie.
Absolutely.
And
what do you think of the aliens?
Huh?
What do you think of the aliens?
There's always aliens.
Yeah, but what do you think about these aliens?
These aliens, I don't know. In the prior movie to this one, they were like Planet of the Apes.
Yeah.
Seems like they always try to throw in whatever the popular movie is now. Ends up, like Godzilla versus the Sea Monster is very James Bondish in a kind of a sense with the spies and the secret organization. And then, if you look at Godzilla Final Wars and I see the Matrix. I don't know. Is any? What I mean?
With the Exilians, you're right.
Very, very, very similar, and just like the new Godzilla versus King Ghidorah, you've got that sort of Arnold Schwarzenegger kind of character in there.
Yeah, you're right. And the
Terminator kind of guy.
And Godzilla and Mothra was kind of a ripoff of in the beginning of Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh, Raiders of the Lost Ark, for sure. Yeah. So there you go. This one, I don't know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, I don't either.
That's
all right. It's fun.
I got to go to one of these Godzilla conventions. They look like a lot of fun.
They are a lot of fun. You should come down.
Well, now I got to reserve a spot there. You think, or a different format?
You probably want to get around and move around a bit. So I'd bring the camera and I would come down.
I'd always wanted to make a Godzilla suit.
There's a lot of people that come to that convention that do, and it's amazing. The costumes that these people come up with.
Oh,
that's the highlight of the whole show, actually, is the costume.
Well, I like the Bandy figures, which I've got a huge collection.
Yeah.
Any inside hints? Any dark, unknown knowledge you might have about tonight's feature, Terror of Mechagodzilla, since you are the Godzilla?
Oh, I think we've covered just about everything. The female writer of the show, and that it was the last of the series. I don't know why they didn't call it Godzilla vs. Titanosaurus.
He got a bad deal, didn't he?
He did get a bad deal, yeah. So that is unfortunate. But
just like that other, what was the other dog-looking monster in the previous movie? Didn't get much.
King Caesar.
King Caesar.
Yeah. Who came up with that name anyway?
I don't know. That was the one monster they didn't use tanks. They were trying to build a giant dog biscuit and throw it. Here, boy. Anyway, you got to get right back into it now. Having a jolly good time with St. Nick, Mr. Kringle, you were supposed to bring a Kringle. Anyway, Ghoulies, Terror of Mechagodzilla on Dr. Destruction's Crimson Theater, where you get all the pleasure without the icing.